which absolutely makes it clear that those services, that support needs to be there in every single place. And it may be sport, it may be clubs, it may be the ability to play music and do things together in a way that isn't available at the moment. Hugely important. So we need to put that back in. The youth strategy was fantastically done because Lisa Nandy, the Secretary of State, did it. And she got a group of young people that she formed into a council to devise the youth strategy, because she was really conscious that the last thing any young person needs is a politician much older than them deciding what they want. And so we brought them in. So the strategy actually has the fingerprints of young people. And they were the ones that said they want more services, they want more clubs, they want more that they can access. So they've actually got other things to do with their lives rather than get stuck looking only at social media. And that is really important in all backgrounds. Thank you. I've got a young person here.
Yeah, hi, my name's Cosima. I'm from FlipGen. And I was wondering how the government's going to make sure that youth voice is properly included in the consultation, so that, as you said, you know, any decisions made really meet young people where they are and address the harms they face.
Yeah, we must have young people involved in the consultation, just as we had them involved in the youth strategy, because you will have strong views, and it's your future that we are talking about, and therefore this will be fully accessible. It will be a 3-month consultation. It'll start fairly soon, and we'll make sure that all voices are taken into account. That's the right thing to do. And there are mixed views. Some people very strongly say there should be a complete ban on under-16s. Other people, I think the NSPCC, say not so fast. You might drive children to other places. That won't be so good. We do need to take that into account. But what we can't do is take sort of months and months and months for a consultation, then years and years and years, so that you'll all be well past 16 by the time we actually come to a conclusion. If we're going to take action, and we must, then we need to be in a position to do it quickly, not slowly. And as I say, the Online Safety Act was passed or brought into being by the last government. It is a big improvement, to be fair. It is a big improvement. But honestly, 8 years from the idea that you need to protect against harm online to actually bringing in a provision. And amongst the problems is that in that 8 years, technology then moved on, and therefore the bit you've captured is all very well, but then there's the bit you haven't captured, which isn't so good. I'll take one more and then I'll go to the media. Yes, madam.
Hi, I'm Zainab. I'm one of George Roll's constituents. So
you've got a great member of parliament.
We've sort of touched upon this already about women's safety, particularly in light of the Keir Starmer. One of my biggest concerns of young women on the internet, posting on social media, is AI and AI misuse. So my question would be, as AI is constantly evolving, what actions are the government taking to combat that AI?
I'm so glad you've raised this, because most people in the room will know what happened with Grok just a few weeks ago. But it was grotesque. Having an ability to instruct an AI bot to undress, particularly women, online, is just so grotesque and disgusting that you'd think it wouldn't be allowed. You'd think that platform provider, once they saw it, would say, take that down. But that wasn't the case. We went into battle on Grok, and the platform provider, the first response was not, get rid of this disgusting feature. It was, oh, we'll make it a premium service. So you've got to pay for it. I tell you, I'm kidding you not. That is the battle we're in, because the response was not, get rid of it. The response was, well, if we restrict access to it to people who can pay for it, is that good enough? We said, no, it's not good enough. That's why we need to act here. In that particular case, we just fought them and fought them and fought them until they backed down. And I'm really proud of what the government did then. But that was, I mean, to go back to a point that was made slightly earlier, that's a reaction to something that's happened. What we need to do is get in early, and that's why we're going to bring in an amendment to existing bill going through Parliament so that we can get in early and take the necessary measures. So thank you for that. I think we're going to, yeah, Shihab.
Sadiq Khan from ITV News. Prime Minister, a few weeks ago, it felt as though the prospect of a social media ban for under-16s felt like it was a long way away. Now it feels as though we're edging slightly closer in that direction. Do you feel as though the government has been too slow to act in the past? Is this an indication that you want things to move a lot quicker? And what does your gut instinct to tell you about the ban for under-16s second question, if I may. The think tank Labour Together supported you, your former chief of staff used to run it. There are now calls for an inquiry into the claims that a report was commissioned by potentially a minister in your government who was then used to smear journalists. Will you answer those calls and will you launch an inquiry?
Firstly, on the question of social media, look, we need to go at speed. And that's really, if there's one takeaway from what I'm saying this morning, it is we need to go at speed. Everybody, I think, pretty much, perhaps the platform providers are the exception, knows that we need better protection for children. We haven't got it. The status quo is not good enough. And as I said a moment ago, the Online Safety Act, yes, a good piece of legislation under the last government, but it took 8 years from the discussion that something needs to be done to an outcome. I'm not prepared to let this take 8 years, which is why we're taking the powers now. We'll have the consultation, and then when we've got the outcome, we can implement it very, very quickly. And I say implement it because there will be action coming out of this consultation. There is no way we have a consultation here and conclude that the status quo is fine. Things don't need to change. They don't protect children enough. We need to take action to fight for those children and fight for their parents, frankly, because a lot of parents feel, I'm left to police this on my own. How am I supposed to do that? I need a government that's up there with me. So yes, absolutely, we want to go more quickly. In relation to the consultation, look, I'm open-minded about it. I can see the argument for a ban. I can see the argument that a much more restrictive content-based approach, which doesn't necessarily cut out news and useful information. I think we need to test those options in the consultation, but whatever the outcome, it can't be nothing. It can't be the status quo. We have got to act to protect children. We've got to act, frankly, to help parents and carers who are all really worried about this in relation to their own children and the children they know, and they want to know the government's on their side and it's going to come up and show leadership and support to them in what they need to do. In relation to your second question on Labour Together, there will be a Cabinet Office investigation into the allegations, and quite right to, and so that is already in place. I didn't know anything about this investigation, and it absolutely needs to be looked into, so the Cabinet Office will be establishing the facts. Thank you, and I think I'm taking a second one from Chris.
Thanks, Chris and to talk about keeping people safe more widely, the Chief of the Defence Staff and his German counterpart have been in the newspapers talking about the moral case for the army. Do you need to start making that moral case, and does that involve bringing the 3% of GDP spending target forward to 2029?
Well, thank you for that. You will have seen over the weekend, I was making the argument at the Munich Security Conference that we, the UK and Europe, need to step up when it comes to defence and security. We have a threat of Russian aggression, which is obvious. In a few days' time, it's the 4-year anniversary of the start of the conflict in Ukraine. We want a just and lasting peace, but that will not extinguish the Russian threat. And we need to be alert to that, because that's going to affect every single person in this room, every single person in this country. So we need to step up. That means on defence spending, we need to go faster. We've obviously made commitments already in relation to that. But it goes beyond just how much you spend. It's also whether you coordinate and collaborate with other like-minded countries, particularly in Europe. And that's the case I've been making, which is that in addition to how much you spend, it's got to be how you work together as a group of countries. How we make NATO stronger, a European NATO, if you like. NATO has been the most successful military alliance the world has ever seen. Countries which across the continent used to be on the battlefield against each other for centuries now stand together ready to defend each other. That's what we need to build on. That will affect every person in this country, and that's where I'm absolutely determined that the United Kingdom will show the leadership that's necessary. Thank you very much indeed. I think I'm now going to have a cup of tea, and I'm going here. Really, I may not have to. I may come sitting here. How are you doing? Nice to see you. Thanks so much for being here. How are you? Very well.